Christmas Eve night.
Yeah.
And it was around midnight. And I was awake. Kids back then didn't sleep much on Christmas Eve. But I was awake and heard it. It sounded like a big long string of firecrackers going off. And then a minute later sounded like some more going off. And then it was over. It had to happen all that fast. But the Manufacturers Association were using Arthur Jones' stove factory as a test case to break the union. And his father got along with the union, and I guess he decided he didn't have to put up with one, and they hired a bunch of people that weren't part of the union, of course, for a lot cheaper wages, and put guards on the doors and bullet shields on the windows, and worked them. And the union people were having a hard time. I know they paid Dad enough money to buy a little food, and I think they give them free cigarettes, and the International Union of Iron Workers, and there were fights between the union strikers and the scabs, they call them. And the word leaked out that the Manufacturers Association was sending some armed strikebreakers down there with shotguns, and they were going to settle it for once and for all. And they came to town in touring cars, big old touring cars. They said there were 3 loads of them. And our next door neighbor was one of the guards up the foundry, and Dad told him, he said, "The one don't go up there tonight. It's not going to be very good at all, and you could get hurt." Well, he went anyhow and brought him home on the door, dead. Somebody killed him. And those guys pulled up in front of the bank there on the front street, and the county sheriff knew that both sides had people fixing to start shooting, and he got up, tried to talk them into doing some talking, and those strikebreakers shot him, or the strike guy, the one they sent down there to break up the strike. They shot the sheriff and his chief deputy both right over the steps. And that's when all hell broke loose. The Union people had them in all the upstairs rooms of the hotel, shooting out the windows, and the city constable, Joe Mayfield, he was across the street. Daddy Williamson's drugstore had a brick pillar in front there, and he was standing behind that with 245 automatics and extra clips for him. And he had his coat hanging loose. And they shot that coat to shreds, but they never did get him. And Cappy Holden was one of the guards that shot him. He was supposed to be a wizard with a 6-gun, but somebody got him. He was down on the pavement in front of the hotel. Charles Tidman, his son-in-law, who run the office crew at the bank, at the foundry, been over to see how he was, and somebody shot him in the butt with a little buckshot. And it only happened about 2 minutes, lasted about 2 or 3 minutes, but they had the ambulance there in South Pittsburg, the one in Jasper, and a couple out of Chattanooga hauling off dead and wounded. And like I said, they brought the next door neighbor home on the door, and he was shot several times. And buried the sheriff and his chief deputy. I think some of the guys up in the hotel got wounded, but the strikebreakers got shot all to pieces. There wasn't no surprise. They were waiting on them, but the sheriff was trying to avoid the whole thing. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to break the strikers. I'd say at least a half a dozen or more got killed and a lot of them wounded. But Arthur Jones wound up with the foundry and bankrupt, and last that I heard of him, he was pumping gas over in Middle Tennessee service station, and his father left him well off a fortune, and he went through it, boy. He wasn't very smart. Yeah, it was a big foundry, and the Union had a strong hold there, and they wanted to break it. But like I said, the foundry went into receivership, and the banks appointed the man to open it up and see if he could operate it and get their money for them and out of it. And he was smart. He did operate it, and it was operating at a profit as long as he lived, but when he died, his son took it over, and his son was an alcoholic. He just run into bankruptcy and shot himself.